Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday morning. It is 10 a.m. Pacific time, and I am Marisa Fletcher here with the Women of Power hosting for you this week. I'd like to say thank you to everyone that's joined us today and who continues to join us each week. I am here with my wonderful co-hosts. I have Crystalline, Isela, and Cynthia, and we are all Tier 3 mentors in the Power Platform. We are all Women of Power here to educate you, inspire you, and just give you more for your power business. So thank you for joining us today. We are going to jump right on in. We like to get started with inspiration. So those of you that come every week, we always ask you, what is your win? What happened last week or the week before that was a win for you that you can share and inspire the group? There's some examples on the screen, but of course, if you have other wins and shares, go ahead and throw them in there. I see Miss Isela's hand is up first. Come on, Isela, let's get us started. Thank you, my friend.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm just really excited because we always talk about networking and BNI as one of the platforms. That's not the only networking group that get as a referral basis, but I went to my BNI, someone invited a construction partner team couple, and they say that anytime they have a construction project, they say, oh no, we don't do solar. So they always just have the customer kind of figure it out. So now that we met, I actually have 3 opportunities with them for some new proposals for the architectural plans. Super excited about that. BNI does work. You just have to be sometimes patient and just, keep moving forward, putting your word out there, asking for your needs. So if you're looking to visit a chapter, just reach out to me and we can, help you find somewhere to visit. So I just wanted to share that one.
Nice. Thank you for that share, Isela. That's huge. Right? A referral partner for you right from BNI, where the goal is to pass referrals, right? We get graded on how many referrals we pass. I love it. I love it. That's a huge win. And thank you for sharing that inspiration. I'm visiting another chapter next Tuesday. And so now I'm super pumped up. I'm like, yes, I'm looking forward to that. Barry, all right, my friend, you've got the floor. What is your win?
Good morning, all. Yesterday, I went to the Orange Chamber Business Networking Lunch, which Isela is familiar with. And within an hour of returning home, I had 2 ambassadors from that lunch. So that was pretty good. We'll see what happens with that.
Nice.
I'm actually expecting more. I got a good response yesterday.
I'm sure you're going to get more. They're just taking a little moment to sign up, but that's great. To already have 2 by the time you get home. That's amazing. And I believe that we're going to have an ambassador training coming up, right? So that as you guys are adding these ambassadors, we're going to put a training on here. Like, what do we do to touch those ambassadors, to have them send us referrals or have them keep thinking about solar? So that's a great win, Barry. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. Who's up next? Who got a win for us? Who wants to share? No secret agents, I hope.
I'll share one. I sold my first deal of the contest yesterday, so I got 1 so far.
I love it. I love it. And Cynthia, you posted like this really huge sale. You might have talked about it already, but do you mind sharing with us? It was like looked like an ADU and a house, and it was completely covered in. I'm like, how big is this deal?
So I have 2 over 100 panel systems. So there's 2 of them, and they're owned by the same owner. He owns Airbnbs, and he wanted to get in right before NEM 3.0. And so we finally got his designs too. And it's a partial roof mount and ground mount system.
Wow. Nice. Maybe we'll do a training one day and we'll talk about our most unique client that we helped or our most unique system that we built.
Yeah, maybe we could do a ground mount ADU training.
All right. Writing that down for this upcoming month. How's it sound, team? All right, I hear everyone saying yes. Okay, any more wins out there? We've got room for a couple more. Don't be shy. Share with us.
This is Reed Bottom.
Hey, Reed.
Was talking in conversation with a roofer that's interested. I would like to know how to present them to be an installer. Is there a form available?
There is a process, and right after this training, we'll do office hours. And probably during the training, one of my co-hosts, they're going to drop that link in the chat for you. But we can definitely give you that link and that information and talk about it a lot more during office hours. How's that sound?
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank you. And then Sandra, I see your hand.
Oh, it's at 7, 8, 9, 10 over there.
You're on mute.
I'll have to call her later.
Oh, okay. Can you see me? I'm sorry.
Oh, you're on a different phone. Yes, yes, yes. Go
Okay. Okay. I just want to say I have 3 installs going in this week, so that's kind of a big win right now.
Kind of a big win. Sounds huge to me.
So I'm happy about that.
Yes, yes. And where are you located?
I'm located in Solana Beach, California.
Oh, nice, nice. And your 3 installs, do you mind sharing with us where they came from? Just a little info?
Yeah, all of the ones I've done have been referrals. And so it's a gentleman that I've known for several years. And so we did his primary resident and 2 condos that he owns. So they're in different cities, but they're all being installed this week.
Nice. Congrats, Sandra. That's a
Thank
huge
you.
win. Nice, nice, nice. And thank you for sharing. We appreciate
Oh,
you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, we're going to wrap it up with one more. And I see Mary Cruz's hand. So Mary Cruz, the floor is yours, my friend.
Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. I have an install on Monday, so I'm excited about that. I look forward to going out there and just, taking some footage and taking the guys, maybe some waters or a pizza or something, just get acquainted and yeah, so I'm excited about that.
Nice, nice. Where's your install happening?
In Fontana.
Nice. Great, great, great. And yeah, it's a very good practice to go out and meet the crew. So that's a good tip there. Anybody considering doing solar parties for those referrals from those installs? Not yet, not yet. Well, I'm going to record the one that I'm doing in Norco, and I'm going to be sure to share it and make it a training on here once we do that party, so that you guys can see how that goes. So, all right, my friends, I want to thank everybody for coming off camera, coming off mute, sharing their wins with us. We appreciate hearing those stories. They're inspiring. They help educate us so we know where to go out and find more referrals, go out and help more families. So again, thank you guys for doing that. It's I love it. I'm here for that every single week. And so now moving on, right before we get into our exciting training, I know everybody's waiting for it. I definitely am. Want to let you guys know about some future trainings that are coming up. Of course, this is not the entire calendar. It's just a little section of the calendar. But if you check out powercalendar.com, you have access to all of this training plus more. We've got training on Mondays with JC Rangel, training on Tuesdays with Jonathan Bernasso, Tom Cotter, of course, Thursdays with the Women of Power. And then we have trainings on Fridays as well, Building with Bobby. Okay, and there's a lot of other trainings. If you want to grab a screenshot of that, please feel free to do so. Good information for you guys and your business. Also, if you look out for the weekly newsletter, it'll be out on Friday. It'll have all this info as well. Okay. Also, again, mark your calendars. Power World. The tickets are now available for sale. I believe we have until, Cynthia, correct me if I'm wrong, was it June 10th? June 10th. Okay. We have until June 10th. If we go to powercalendar.com, find the Power World link, click there, you can go and get your tickets early, and there's a discount if you buy those tickets before June 10th. Otherwise, they will still be available. It's for 4 days in San Diego. I know only 3 show here, but there's actually a VIP event right before. All that information is going to be on Power Calendar in the link. I look forward to seeing everybody there. I'm excited to be there. It's right in San Diego. So hope you all can come down. Hope we can meet, network, and just learn and grow with the opportunity that we have with Power. All righty, so enough of my talk. I am going to get off the screen, but right before I do, I'm going to introduce the one, the only Miss Michelle Spina. Michelle is here today to share with us about her company's product, SolarEdge. And let me tell you guys, Michelle loves the product. She knows it in and out. She's got an easy way to explain it to us so that we can regurgitate that information to our homeowners. Now that we're in that NEM 3.0 world, she's going to give us some scenarios, some different things that she's come across with NEM 3.0. So please grab a notebook, grab a pen, and pay close attention because this is valuable info. Michelle, you have the floor, my friend. We're looking forward to this.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you know, this is my favorite group to come hang out with. So I, first and foremost, I always ask if I can come back and hang out with this crew. But I do want to put in the chat box, if you missed it, we had a really good event with Jordan Shaw. He was a guest speaker on our national webinar this week. He had a lot of really great tips on NEM 3.0. So definitely check that out. We did an interview with him, and I put that in the chat box if you missed it. So I just wanted to do a quick gauge on a scale of 1 to 10. How's everyone feeling about NEM 3 so far? Are we conquering it, or is it still a little shaky? Let's see. It looks like some people are putting it in the chat. An 8. Hey, those are good. Hey, come on. Those are great. All right. So a couple of things. I do want to just go through a couple quick reminders about our product. And then, like Marissa said, I really want to nerd out on some modeling that we've done. If you don't have access to SolarEdge Designer, it's a free tool that you can use. It's pretty easy. You know, when I started in solar in 2013, I had to design all my own systems. And it practically was like just pen and paper. And with all of these new design tools coming out, it's much easier. So would be happy to give you access if you don't have it yet, but wanted to show you a couple of different scenarios: solar only, 1 battery with no backup capability, 2 battery, no backup capability, and then 2 battery with backup, and show you kind of the return on investments that we're seeing there. So just a couple of quick reminders. SolarEdge's battery is really well suited for NEM 3 environment for a lot of reasons, but these are really why. Our efficiency gives your homeowners 10 days of additional power every single year, because we can charge and discharge daily, and we're able to, because of our 7% efficiency gain over the other battery you have available, it equates to about 10 days of free power for your homeowners. We can also capture clipped energy, so we don't waste energy. Does anybody remember why we can capture clipped energy? All right, I'll give you this one. It's because we're on the DC side of the solar system. So the panels and the battery are on the DC side before the inverter. So we can just throw that extra energy into the battery. If there's extra energy, we can go straight DC current. We can also fully discharge the battery during what I call the power hours. So the power hours are like those September hours, those 2 hours in September where your homeowners are making $3 a kilowatt hour. We want to be able to discharge the entire battery to make them more money during that time. So I'll show you why that is. And then, of course, our unlimited cycles. So your homeowners can charge and discharge on a daily basis as many times as they need to without impacting their warranty. And we have everything built into the back end of our system to where this battery is going to discharge for your homeowner when it's advantageous. So there's an algorithm on the back end that says, if the homeowner is going to make more money by exporting to the grid than they're paying, we're going to discharge the battery and export. If they're not, we're going to hold on to it and we're going to use it for self-consumption. So it's automatically doing that based on their utility rate profile on the back end of our software. All right, and I do see some questions in here as well. And so the question, and I was just taught, oh, no, Jordan's here. I did just talk to several people about this in-phase warranty to 15 years. So it's 15-year, 60% capacity retention is the in-phase warranty currently. Ours right now is 10-year, 70% capacity retention. We may see a modification on our warranty as well, but currently right now it's that 10-year, 70% capacity retention is where we're at. And of course, After 10 years, it doesn't mean we're going, that battery's dead and needs to be replaced. It means we're guaranteeing 70% capacity left on that battery. So quick reminder, we have 3 options. We have rate saver, which is the no battery backup. I think this team is just pros at understanding these concepts at this point, right? So this is not going to have battery backup. This is for homeowners that want to save money but don't need backup capabilities. Then we have essential loads backup and we have full home backup. So how many batteries can we put onto our system total? Does anybody remember? 9 total. There are some in, Mari Cruz, whoop, whoop. So 9 total. We have a lot actually in Inland Empire right now in the Palm Desert area, where 8 or 9 batteries is what we're looking at. So we have 2 types of homeowners we're going to run into: storage for bill savings, and then we're going to have batteries for backup power. And those are kind of the 2 profiles we're looking at. So when we're talking about the rate saver solution, people that don't need backup, like who's that perfect candidate? Well, our primary objectives in this situation is we don't want to use power from the grid and we don't want to export solar unless it's advantageous. So that's what we're really looking at for the rate saver candidate, as well as our battery backup candidates. When I'm modeling, I always look at how much can I avoid exporting to the grid when it's not advantageous. So that's kind of the sizing considerations. The thing I've heard from a lot of reps, and I just want to reiterate, when we think about this battery with no backup capability, we don't need to think about critical loads, right? Our mind always goes to critical loads. Well, how, can I run my AC? This is now just a bucket for us to store energy in. So we don't have to think about critical loads in this capacity, right? We want to think more about daily consumption habits, and our bucket is 10 kilowatt hours. So how much is that going to cover on a daily basis, right? If that homeowner is using, let's just say 30 kilowatt hours a day, when are they using the most energy? And Jordan went over this a bit too on our call earlier this week. Like, when in the daytime are they using the most energy? And is that 10 kilowatt hours going to sustain those, 4 to 9, those peak hours, so that we can actually offset their bill as much as possible? So that's kind of what we're thinking about in terms of daily consumption. All right. Okay, so we will cover that, the question about Franklin as well. As we know, there's so many battery manufacturers coming out. So we'll cover that in just a minute. So just a reminder, in California, we use the battery differently. And it allows you to have energy independence. It allows you to become your own power plant, and it gives you the immunity to change. Immunity to changes in energy policy. Jordan, what did you call it? A protective bubble, right? It gives you the protective bubble that you need in California, but really it allows you to store the energy you produce so that you can utilize it at times that are most advantageous to you. That's how we use it in California. So if you run into homeowners, and it has been happening recently, where you are building a system and that homeowner sees the system and says, wait, I don't need a battery. I don't need a battery because I never have blackouts, but you're using it for, the self-consumption piece. This is an easy way to explain to homeowners what we're doing with a battery. We use it a bit differently in California. We all know this. So this is that DC coupled triple conversion penalty that we're seeing in an AC coupled solution. So when we're talking about, by the way, Franklin, in phase, you're seeing 3 different conversions of energy before you use it into the home, and Tesla as well. Even if it is paired with our inverter, that would require 3 different conversions of energy before we use it in the house. There's a reason why we want to keep it DC, because we want 1 conversion of energy, but we also want to be able to throw that excess energy into the battery and charge it. We want to limit the waste of that energy. So it allows us to manipulate where that's going. Is it going to the battery? Is it going to the home? So that's why we are able to have about 10 days of free power from that SolarEdge battery. I will also mention, an AC coupled solution, sometimes people pair our inverter with a Tesla Powerwall, with the Franklin battery. And now that becomes Franken Solar, right? Now that is multiple different vendors in one ecosystem of products. And in this type of NEM 3 environment, we want to be able to manipulate when it's most advantageous for that homeowner to export, right? So we want that system to talk to each other, talk to all together. And so there's a big value in having one central ecosystem that talks to itself and that's collaborating with itself because it has compatible devices all attached to it, but also is able to communicate and make those decisions for the homeowner. Like, I'm going to export at this time. Oh, we have excess PV. I'm going to throw it into the battery. I'm going to throw it into my EV charger. When you start putting other components in there that aren't a part of the SolarEdge ecosystem, those lines of communication break. And so we want to be able to communicate within that same network with all of those devices. I hope that makes sense. We know the main panel upgrade avoidance. We feel that a lot in California. We are wiring everything into that inverter, which allows us to avoid main panel upgrades. In an AC coupled solution, you'd be wiring everything separately. So you see a lot of main panel upgrades in an AC coupled solution. If you're side-by-siding the proposal, I would recommend seeing if you could avoid it with SolarEdge. Even if you're not selling SolarEdge right now regularly, I fully understand. This team knows I sold both systems, right? When I sold solar, but there were opportunities to side-by-side those proposals and see if, number one, you got higher production through SolarEdge, but also number two, if you could avoid main panel upgrades. So consideration there. So let's talk about the power hours before we get into modeling, and then I'll show those models. So here's what I meant about getting the most of those power hours. So we've all seen the rate schedule, right? The rate chart for NEM 3. Here's those 2 hours in September where you're getting over $3 a kilowatt hour for your power. So of course, for the homeowner, we want to export at that time. We want to really dump the whole battery if we can. With SolarEdge, because we're considered a 2-hour battery, this is kind of a fun fact, a 2-hour battery because we can push 5 kW for a full capacity of 10 kilowatt hours. So that's a 2-hour battery. Capacity divided by the continuous power is going to give you that export capability. In a microinverter solution, same size battery, 3.8 kW continuous power, they only have the capability, even though they have the same size battery, to export 7.6 kilowatt hours during those 2 hours. So they are exporting less in those two hours, making the homeowner less money in that case. So we want to make more money for your homeowners. We want to export that entire battery. All right, I am going back to the chat just in case. Okay, so Jordan, that's a good point. So let's be honest here. So an AC coupled battery is advantageous if you're expanding systems sometimes because it's an easy add-on. If the inverter that's on the house is not a energy hub, right, or a home hub battery, home hub inverter. If it is, it's very easy to add a battery to it. If it's not, you could add potentially a battery without having to swap out that inverter. So Cynthia, on the reverse of that question, how long from empty does it take to fill? Yeah, great. So about 2 hours in the morning is generally how long it takes for the battery to fill up.
10 kilowatt.
10 kilowatt hour. Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, Tara. All right, so
system size? Sorry,
Cynthia.
Is that regardless of system size?
Yeah, so typically it will take 2 hours to charge in the morning, because we are filling the battery concurrently from as we're using that energy in the home. So we're actually going to prioritize charging for a specific level of that battery in the morning while we are also powering the house. So it's happening at the same time. Whereas in other use cases, it wouldn't be happening at the same time.
Got it. That's good to know. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah. Everyone has the My SolarEdge app. I think if you don't, download it on your phone because there's demo sites on there. There's one in particular called Battery Demo Site that I use all the time. And it is a real site. You can show your homeowners in real time what's going on with that system. And then if you don't have the resources yet, QR code will take you to our selling deck, our interactive guide, any FAQs, and then some videos that you can send to homeowners. So a lot of times we want leave behinds, right? We want to be able to send homeowners things afterwards. Those videos have been really good for that. So definitely take a look, see if there's anything that you can use for your own sales strategy. Are we ready to nerd out in the tool? I bet Jordan is. Okay, so a couple of different scenarios here. I built one that was a large system and then one that's kind of a smaller system. So this one in particular is in San Jose. And what's important to note is bill offset and also payback period. So if we see here, this is solar only. So this is a homeowner that if they decided to go solar only today, they use 11,000 kilowatt hours a year. And this is a consumption profile of retired work from home. So another thing to note is the consumption profile is going to adjust things. In Designer, you can actually change this consumption. Oh, sorry, it's 12,000 kilowatt hours annually. You can adjust the consumption profile here and modify it for a kind of a standard consumption profile. You can create a custom one and manually enter the stuff in, or you can upload green button data here. So there is that option. I just, for ease, used retirees working from home consumption profile to check this one out. So when we're in the actual site, and I'm not going to design from scratch unless you guys tell me after we go through this that you want me to design from scratch. But I wanted to just show kind of the financial comparison first. And then if you wanted to nerd out on designing from scratch, we can do that. Okay, so this is 15 modules, 1 inverter, 6 kW solar system. If we were to, in a normal scenario, let's talk about a normal scenario, 12 kilowatt hours annually, we're trying to offset the bill as much as possible. That would probably be what, a 8.5, 9 kW system usually. This right now is a 6 kW system. What I decided in this modeling is let's downsize it a little bit and instead see what happens when we add some batteries to it because of the consumption profile. So this is solar only. They didn't put any batteries on this at all. Their payback's 8 years if they decided to go with 6 kW solar system, no battery at all. If you notice, it's kind of half and half. Half the total self-consumption and the total exports, a little bit half and half here. This is the thing we always want to look at is this chart. So if you notice, like in July, their production's much higher than their consumption, and their self-consumption is hitting right in the center. So that blue line is what their self-consumption is. We want to get that self-consumption up as much as possible. Like we want to make that as high as possible when we're building these systems. Currently right now, this customer, solar only, is only offsetting their bill 44%. Okay, so this would be still only offsetting their bill 44%, and they have an 8-year payback. No bueno, right? So let's look at one battery. solar only. So this is same exact size system, 1 to 10 kilowatt hour battery. It's the same system layout and everything. We just added a battery to it. It has now gone down to 7-year payback period. This is no backup, right? So 7-year payback period. And look what happens to the self-consumption piece. They're now leveraging self-consumption a lot more than exporting. So I want to check out here, like, well, where are they exporting? So they're always going to still be exporting in July and August, June, July, August, a little bit, because of their high production and their lower consumption. It's just going to be the behavior. But here's the good news. Because their consumption is so much higher in the winter months, you know, where do those power hours hit? September, right? We want to be able to discharge the battery in September so that we can offset those higher winter months with our credits, right? Because those credits roll over once you get those power hours intact. Now let's look back at bill offset. So with one battery, their bill offset has now jumped to almost 80% because they're able to leverage the self-consumption from the battery. But this is the piece that's really interesting is let's look at 2 batteries, 2 battery solar only. So still no backup. If you see up here, I'm clicking back and forth, 1 battery, 7 years, 2 batteries, 7.3 years. So smaller, you know, just because of the price of the battery, right? It's making a little bit higher of a payback period. But if you see the self-consumption line has now raised up even more. So let's look at, so here's 2 battery. Let's look at the comparison of that blue line on 1 battery. So there's 1 battery and then there's 2 battery. It raises up because we have 2 batteries that we can discharge, right? And we are offsetting the bill to 100%, nearly 100%. So even though the payback is 7.3, you know, it really depends on the goal of this homeowner. Payback period 7.3, you know, the initial return on investment is going to be a little bit higher, but on a monthly basis, they're offsetting their bill 98% because of their self-consumption capabilities. So on a monthly basis, they're able to have much lower of a utility bill. Yeah, so Cynthia, great point. Yes, we are, the no backup battery is set up as well as the backup battery. It's the same battery, frankly, to discharge at the power hour time automatically. There's a couple of times in August too, that aren't as awesome as $3 a kilowatt hour, but also give a bit more credits to discharge than what they're paying. So we will probably discharge in those times as well. I think it's like 85 to 90 cents a kilowatt hour they would be getting to export, but they would be paying like 56. So we would be exporting in that time too. Okay, I told you that this was truly nerding out. Have I lost everybody? No? Okay, yeah. So this is 2 batteries, no backup. Okay, let's just look at the payback period, 7.3 years. If that homeowner said, well, I do need backup capabilities, and we wanted to add that to a 2 battery system, that would be adding about a year to their payback period if they had a 2 battery system. We could see, let's just check out real quick. I'll add it on this 1 battery system. If we were doing backup on the 1 battery, we would need to add a backup interface, right? And we would need to add labor associated with that. So I will change this over to using backup power on a 1 battery system and see what we get. Okay. just for the heck of it, let's see where we get. So if that homeowner says, I want backup capabilities, that's going to be almost an additional year to add backup capabilities to, and remember, this is a small system size. So when you get into those larger system sizes, which we get into a ton, especially in Southern California, that changes a bit. So let's look at a bigger system size, unless anybody has any questions on the smaller system sizes. All right, let's look at the larger system size. My hometown, Fresno, California. I mean, how excited would we be if we saw this roof? Like, I just want to smack 45 panels on that roof. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I put 24 modules on this roof. This customer uses 15,000 kilowatt hours, and I changed that consumption profile to family with school-age children to see what happens with that model. So this is solar only for this homeowner. He decides that he's going to go with only solar. His payback period's 14.2 years with no battery. Okay, so let's look at why. Because he's exporting a ton. Because during those times in the daytime where the school-age children and the family are at work and at school, they're not using that energy, they're exporting it. So self-consumption is only happening in the nighttime hours, right? So this is a different consumption profile and a different behavior. If we look at the monthly energy, same thing kind of trend happens, right? Where we are overproducing in the summertime, underproducing in the winter. That bell curve is always going to be the same. But if this person went solar only, this is offsetting their bill 40% because of the non-advantageous export rates, right? Because they're exporting that's offsetting their bill only 41% if they went solar only. But let's go solar one battery. Who remembers what the payback period was for solar only on that one? 14, yeah, 14 years, yikes. Okay, so if we put one battery on it, and this is a rate saver battery, this is no backup, we go down to 11.7 years on one battery. And we now are getting a little bit better here because we're producing this much, we're exporting less, and then we're self-consuming a bit more. But this is a big system. So every time I think of anything kind of over, in my estimation, over like an 8 kW system, a 2 battery solution seems to be looking better in most cases. All right, is anybody else seeing that? Yeah, Cynthia says, yeah. So just in terms of modeling, I mean, I think that's what I'm seeing. Now this is offsetting the bill 68%. So it's getting a little bit closer, but this is a big system. Let's see what happens with the 2 battery. So let's look at that blue line again, see where we're at with self-consumption. Blue line here goes up exponentially. We're offsetting the bill to 95% with 2 batteries. And we have gone down to a payback period of 10 years, 10 and a half years with 2 batteries. It's pretty crazy. And it's because we are exporting a lot less. So just to look at a 2 battery with backup on this one, payback period adds about a year more, but it's still lower, much lower than if they were going solar only on that system. All right, so those are my 2 scenarios that I wanted to show today. If you want to mess around with Designer, I'd highly recommend it. It's pretty fun, but I know you guys have a how is Vision going? Like it's a new tool. I haven't seen it yet, but you have a pretty snazzy tool under your guys' belt as well. So if you want to mess around with this, the modeling is all built into the back end for NEM 3. It is making the assumptions of our automatic discharge. So it's helpful. Let me go back and look at the questions. Yeah, no battery is everyone's least favorite option. It's not possible anymore, I don't think. But so I think that that's kind of why I wanted to show the modeling, because unless it's a really small system, super small, like 3 to 4 kW, the no battery is just not showing up as a good option. The direct link to the tool, to the designer tool. Yeah, so that needs to, yeah, thanks, Jordan. And if you have a login to Edge Academy, it's the same login for designer. So same sign in, email address and password. If you need one, then just send me a quick note and I can sign you up. And here's my email address. Or if you guys want to put your email address in the chat box, I'll make sure you get signed up for Edge Academy and Designer. All right, that's all I had. I just wanted to come hang out, like I said. If anybody has any questions, feel free to throw them out there.
That was awesome. Thanks so much, Michelle. And yeah, if we want to take a couple questions, we definitely can before we turn off the recording, see what questions there are.
Anybody got a question or two out there for Michelle while we got her? That was pretty awesome, Michelle. Thank you so much for going through those explanations, showing those different scenarios. I really like how you broke out whether they are in the home during the day, not in the home during the day. I think that's a really good thing we should be putting in our notes so we can kind of remember as we're doing working with our clients, so we know why we're designing the way that we are designing, because
yep,
it's all gonna matter.
Remember to ask them too how they use their energy during the day, even like get a little bit more granular on how they're using during the day, which we generally we're talking about annual, but during the day matters. Everybody that's putting in your email address here, you're going to receive an email from SolarEdge that says complete registration. It should be in your inbox in the next 3 minutes or so. Once you complete that, you'll have access to Designer.
Nice. All right, hearing no immediate questions right now, we'll go ahead and wrap up the rest of our meeting. Everyone knows, or if you don't know about the newsletter, we do have a Women of Power newsletter that goes out on Friday after this meeting. If you're not a part of the newsletter, please drop your first name, last name, and email address in the chat. We'll make sure you get on the newsletter. It'll have this recording plus access to all of our prior recordings here with the Women of Power, and then just a calendar and just information that you need for your power business. So that's the Women of Power newsletter. And then last but not least, we always like to end our meeting with a closing quote. So this week, our Women of Power closing quote is, "Change is inevitable, but growth is optional." And that's by John C. Maxwell. So we think that's very fitting. We see that obviously there was change with NEM 3.0, but what are we going to do about it? We're going to grow through those changes and take this opportunity and take our businesses to the next level. So on that note, I want to thank everybody for joining us this week. Please come back here next week, Thursday, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard. We're going to end the meeting for today and jump right into our office hours. Thank you, everyone. See you next week. Thank you for taking the time to watch the Women of Power training series. I hope that you got some great value out of that video, and there's much, much more where that came from. Listen, if you'd like to join Powur or find out more about this awesome and amazing platform, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the description. I look forward to connecting with you real soon. Have a great day.